WF representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Anything earned for a goal of elevation, just passing the team over here might finish out bright future, we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's sellers. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions, fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. I hope we're good. Good evening. This is our match preview for Ipswich at home. Sellers Park, 3 p.m. kickoff tomorrow. The guys are laughing at me. I think something's gone wrong. It always goes wrong on my end. It's always something. JC, how are you going?
Go on then. You're speaking to yourself.
I'll go away. I'm changing my name.
I'm good. Happy it's the weekend. Was it 2 weeks in a row at Sellers now? So, looking forward to it. We haven't actually been at Sellers that much this season, really. Granted, we've been pretty rubbish at home, but hopefully we've got a nice little turn of form now. We've got, I think, the first win in the Prem at home in a while, not long ago. Now, hopefully, we can kick on and pick up some good form. Also had our FA Cup win at home as well. So, 2 wins at home in 2 games. So let's hope we can carry that on.
Absolutely. Dan, how's it going?
Yeah, all good. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Talking about, I feel like we haven't been at so much this calendar year. I can't remember the last time we had a 3 o'clock kickoff at home either, to be honest.
That's true.
It's been a while. I can't remember, to be honest. But yeah, I'm just excited for tomorrow and glad it's the weekend as well.
Absolutely. And we have a guest, Ipswich fan here, Rich, who kindly enough sent us a video the last time we played Ipswich, obviously before our game at Portman Road. Rich, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks, guys, for having us on. Looking forward to coming to Sellers tomorrow. I think the last time I come, you beat us. I think it's 5-0. I think Glenn Murray maybe scored 2, maybe 3 penalties. That was under Mick back in 2012. So I'm hoping tomorrow it'll be a little bit more positive for us.
Hopefully not. Let's start. We like to talk more about, obviously, when we have a guest, we like to let them have the platform and have the space to be able to talk about their season so far and how they see it going. What, 11 games to go? How do you think it's been? Because I don't think you're a bad footballing club. I just think you've just been on the wrong end of results. How have you seen it?
Yeah, look, I think it's like we get a lot of love from other teams saying, "Oh, we'd like you to stay up" and all this, and which is good. You always like to hear positive things about your football club. But I think we probably are where I thought we'd be, guys. I thought we'd probably be bottom 3, maybe aiming for 17th. We're obviously 5 points off Wolves at the minute, and then you look at their goal difference. I think that's worth another point. So we've only won 3 games all season, but if you look at our season overall, we've been pretty decent in spells, a bit naive in some games, Rich. I'd like the Fulham game away when we were pretty on top and we give away 2 real stupid penalties. We've had goalkeeping errors, and I think it's a case of I think we're still learning, because we were playing in League One 2 seasons ago, and a lot of fans probably now, we can't keep using that same excuse. 2 years ago we were playing like Morecambe and Accrington, but football, look, it don't stand still for anybody. So yeah, look, have we been unlucky with injuries? Yeah, we've been unlucky because we've had a lot of injuries, but I think ultimately we are where we deserve to be at this minute in time in the league. Will we get out of it? Look, we've got 11 games to go. We're probably going to have to win probably 5 games, I would have thought. And then when you look at, we've won 3 games in 27, so we're going to have to buck that trend very soon. And look, tomorrow's a big game. Obviously, Wolves play Everton, but then Wolves have got Southampton next week, and I'm thinking that's a gimme, innit? There's not many teams who, they took 4 points off us, which is probably another reason why we're there. We played Southampton not many weeks back, a game at home where you expect to be if you want to stay in the division, I mean, you've got to beat teams like that. And we went and lost 2-1. So we've got and then we've got Forest, then we've got Bournemouth. So we need to start. Yeah, it's not a great run, but I think we need to win one out of the next two, because I look at them and I think, look, Wolves will probably beat Southampton. So if we didn't get a result in the next two, that goes to 8 points. And then we play Wolves very soon, but it might be nearly all over by then. I know people will say, yeah, Cunha's going to get a 4-game ban. For me, that's pretty irrelevant at the minute, because that don't get us no points. You know, it's a positive that he's their best player and they're going to miss him. But unless we start putting wins on the board, like tomorrow, it's a tough game coming to Palace. Ideally, you'd probably think, look, if you took a point, it'd be a good result. But we've only got 11 games left. We need to be winning games now. And I think it might be a little bit of a bridge too far this season. We might have to go down, reset. We signed a lot of young players from the Championship, maybe with an eye on possibly dropping down a division. But we're still in there. We've still got a fighting chance. And, we'll have to see what happens.
You mentioned injuries. How many injuries do you actually have? I mean, I'd only heard about like the Axel Tuanzebe one from your channel, you know, and it was like, wait, hold on a second. He picked up an injury the last time we were about to play you. You know,
is that when he cut his thumb? I think that was when he cut his thumb, Rich, when he was doing his washing up at home, and he somehow severed his thumb.
Really?
Look, he's a good player, Tuanzebe, but it's a case of he doesn't stay fit. You know, and that's probably why when he was at Man United, he was a good player there. And I remember when he played against PSG in the Champions League and he marked Mbappe out of the game. But then there's a reason why they didn't keep him, because he wasn't fit. So when you're in the Premier League, the last 2 years we've been really lucky. We haven't picked up that many injuries. But I mean, we've got like Chidozie Bonnet, Wes Burns, Sammy Smodics. Sammy Smodics, he's having ankle surgery. Connor Chaplin's not fit. Cameron Burgess, but we might have Hutchinson available tomorrow. He missed the game on Monday at Forest. In Ciso, who we signed on loan from Brighton, he got injured at Villa. He might be back tomorrow. I think Calvin Phillips is trained. He's another one. Phillips, he come with a lot of sort of noise around him, Rich, but he hasn't played the games that a team that have been promoted that you require. You know, you're timing to Calvin Phillips, and obviously we're not paying all his wages from City. I think he's only started probably half the games. And in the position we're in, that's not really good enough. You need him to be showing that form that he had at Leeds. But I think he's probably suffered when he went to City. He didn't play for 2 years, went to West Ham, wasn't fit there, probably wasn't fully fit when he came to ours. Look, it was probably a good move for him personally, a little bit out of the limelight. You know, you come into Ipswich, it's a little bit quiet, you know, in sleepy Suffolk. But he's played quite well the last couple of 3 games when he's played, but we're into February. You needed that form earlier in the season. I think he's a really good character, Calvin Phillips. I like him a lot as a person and off the pitch, but in signing him, you want him playing games, and he's just not played enough games.
Yeah. I mean, what would you, apart from injuries, what else would you attribute like it all to? You mentioned obviously the Premier League's lethal, you know. And like you said, I think you've played some decent football at times, but you've just been punished. I think even the last couple of games against Villa, you were good. You know, against Man United, I don't know how you're letting them get away with that game.
Well, I mean,
you know,
we went to Villa and we had Tuanzebe got sent off in that game just for half time, and it was 0-0. And you're thinking, oh, blimey, we played really well. We got a 1-1 draw. Then we had Spurs at home, Man United away, and you're thinking Tottenham had not been in great form, a good chance to beat them. Man United, look, boys, they're one of the worst Man United teams we'll ever see. They are terrible. Played quite well against Tottenham for 20 minutes. Probably could have been 3-0 up after 5 minutes, but didn't take your chances. There's another thing. When you get a chance, you got to score. We were 2-0 down after 25 minutes. You're sitting there thinking, we've actually played quite well in this game. We lost 4-1. If you hadn't watched the game, you probably look in your paper on the Sunday and think, oh, Ipswich got hammered again. But it wasn't a true reflection. Then we went to United. We were gifted to a howler by Anana for the first one and even the second one. Then they had a guy sent off just before half time. It's 2-2. We're going in. You're thinking, right, second half, here we go. We were awful. It's probably the worst half of football that we played at Man United. And looking at it a little bit, it was probably the worst thing that happened was them going down to 10 men because they sat deep. They made it difficult for us, and we always struggle. We've struggled when teams sit in with a low block. Since McKenna come when we're in League One and we play some teams who, they come to Portland Road, they just didn't want to play football. They'd sit behind the ball, and we struggled against them, and we're still struggling now. You'll probably see tomorrow. We're quite good when we're on the ball, but we move it too slow. We move the ball too slow, giving teams opportunity to sort of, if you break, you've got I went to Forest the other night and they've got like a Langer, they've got Hudson-Odoi, but as a club, Forest are probably 2 or 3 years ahead of where we want to be. If we could actually stay in the league, you can stay in, then you can spend, we spent 130 million, but you can get better players. We've signed players from the top end of the Championship. If you could actually stay in the Premier League, then you can get that little bit better player. But look, as a whole, I think we've acquitted ourselves fairly well, but I think it's probably at both ends of the pitch, Rich. You've got to be clinical when you get a chance. We haven't scored enough goals. And it's like every mistake you make at this level, it just 9 times out of 10, it's going to end in a goal. Whereas seasons before, like in the Championship, we conceded a lot of goals, but we scored, I think, 96 goals. We were always scoring a lot of goals, so it didn't really matter. And we've only kept 2 clean sheets all season. And that's probably one of the reasons as why people might say McKenna's made. I think we've probably made, if you look, I think we're top of changes made over the season. I think we've made about 80 changes. So we've never had that sort of settled 11. But I think that's a case of, it's injuries, but it's also when you're not winning, you're searching for that formula to find, isn't it? You think, I made 2 or 3 changes this week. It hasn't worked. Whereas before, 2 seasons before, we had partnerships all over the pitch. And look, that's another thing with coming up. We had to sign a lot of players, and it's very brutal, the Premier League. Have I enjoyed it? Probably not, but then that probably comes down to the last 2 seasons we're used to winning games and we got nearly 200 points. Yet that's football, isn't it? You go to football, you want to win it. But sometimes it don't really matter how you're playing. But 11 games to go. I think we do need a little bit of help from other teams when they're playing Wolves, because I think they're probably the only team we're going to be able to catch. But I just think they've probably, if I look at their squad overall, I think they've got better players than we have. And I can hold my hands up as a fan. If we go back down, we'll get back to winning games, getting that feel-good factor. But I don't think that it'll be a disaster if we got relegated. The club's in a miles better position than it was about 4 or 5 years ago with the investment we've had. Players, got a lot of assets now. And hopefully we keep hold of McKenna if we go down. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I don't think it is.
To be fair as well, I think there's a if you play it right, there are a couple of teams who, like, for example, I know like Fulham came up. I think they came up for a season, didn't they? Yeah. Went down, come back.
Spent 100 million, didn't they? Dan?
Yeah,
spent 100 million.
Yeah, exactly. And then they come back up, and then now they're finishing in the top half of the table. So I agree. Like, getting relegated is not a bad thing, especially like if you're going in the right direction as a club and you've got a manager, which I rate McKenna, and he sticks with him, lets the team play on a bit more. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. JC, what have you made of Ipswich this season?
I'm not really sure, because it feels like one of them times where as you said, everyone doesn't mind them. Everyone quite likes the football they play. Never wants them to stay in the league. It just, to me, it feels like Luton all over again, doesn't it? But this time, whereas Luton didn't spend any money, they've still spent 120, 130 million pounds on loads of players. If you do go down, is that not going to bite you on the way down? Granted, you're going to have your parachute payments, but you're probably still going to have to shift a few of your players to, keep on top of the wages, because the parachute payments it's a lot compared to other Championship teams. If you compare it to the Premier League money, it's nowhere near. So you could struggle when you go down to keep a hold of all your players.
I think it's only natural if you get relegated, you're going to lose players. I think you know that. Look, we've got obviously the biggest asset we've got is Delap. No one really knows what the sort of deal is there with Man City. I've heard rumours they get first refusal if a club bids, say, 50 million, they could match it. So we might not make as much there as we possibly might have been able to. But look, I think we'll be able to. We'll be okay. We'll probably lose some players, maybe a Hutchinson, maybe a Davis. But that's just natural. If you get relegated, that's what happens. So you've just look. I think Mark Ashton and the board, they know what they're doing. They'll cut their cloth accordingly. I don't disagree with like the comparison with Luton. You know, we're probably going to end up probably on, what did they get, 25 or 26 points? But I think when you look at the clubs that are probably going to go down with, which will be Leicester and Southampton, I think we'll be in a better position than both them clubs to bounce straight back up. Whereas Leicester are just a bit of a mess, aren't they? And no one knows what's going to happen with Van Nistelrooy. Southampton, they're going to go for another manager. I think they'll probably go for Danny Roll at Sheffield Wednesday, if you listen to all the rumours. But that's probably a change of style again for them. If McKenna stays, that's why I think we'll have the best chance out of them two teams to come back up. But whereas McKenna really, the last couple of seasons, he's not been under any pressure for my money. You know, he was expected to get us out of League One. Last season, no one really expected us to bounce straight through the Championship and straight into the Premier League. And this season, I think most pundits and bookies, if you're looking at the betting, they've had Town in the bottom three for getting relegated anyway. So I don't think McKenna's under pressure there. Whereas next season, I think he will be, because it'll be the first time that there'll be more expectation on his shoulders. You know, you're going down, like you say there, JC, Ipswich, you're going to have them parachute payments, and a lot of people will expect us to bounce back up. But you need to start your season well. If you don't get some results in the first few weeks, the pressure will grow on him. But I think he's more than capable, McKenna, of bringing us back up. I don't see him going in the summer. There was a lot of clamour for him in the summer just gone. Obviously, when he'd got back-to-back promotions, there was Brighton, Chelsea and United were chasing him. I don't see there's going to be a vast number of Premier League clubs looking for a new manager anyway. And I don't think there'd be a vast number of Premier League clubs going to take a chance on a manager who's, he's got back-to-back promotions, but then he'll probably take his team straight back down. Whereas Kompany, when he went to Bayern Munich, he comes with a little bit more, you know, he's Vincent Kompany, he's played at the top level. I can understand why they went for him. I don't know, he wasn't their first choice. Whereas McKenna, he's been at Man U and he was under Jose, he was under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I think for me, he's been learning this season. Everyone's still learning. I think it's the best thing if he stays at our club, maybe go back to the Championship, get another promotion on your CV and then see what happens, you know. I think that, personally, I think that would be the best thing for McKenna in the long term, or maybe in the short term, and then see what's available after that.
One more thing with the amount of injuries that you've got, probably another question I wanted to ask. Do you think you're suffering from your own success when it comes for injuries a little bit? Because maybe the infrastructure hasn't been built around your medical department to really, like, be able to handle all those injuries when coming up so quickly.
I think if you look over the board, there's been a lot of, like, Tottenham, loads of injuries. Man United, loads of injuries. Is it a case of, look, I don't know, it's a step up, but we're playing 8 games less than we were in the Championship. You're not playing Saturday, Tuesday, like obviously when you were in the Championship. I know that was a few years ago, but that's brutal, you know. You've got to be fit then. But you're playing at a higher intensity now, I get that. You know, it's, you need a little bit of, as a promoted team, I think when you get promoted, you need a little bit of luck when it does come to injuries. You know, you need all them cards to fall in sort of your favour to have the best chance of staying up. And it hasn't done that, you know, but you can't really use it as an excuse, I don't think. You know, you get injuries, it's part and parcel of football, and you just have to deal with them the best you can. You know, Tottenham had struggled this season and with injuries, you know, but that's just how it is. There's going to be players that probably wouldn't have had an opportunity before. They'll get that opportunity, and they all should be at that level, you know, to come into the team. And look, we just probably haven't been good enough, if I'm being honest, you know, across the board. Manager, players, injuries, they do play some part, but I don't really think you can use them as an excuse.
Yeah, I think that at the moment, because I was watching a video the other day, and I think there is just an interesting debate at the moment in football anyway about like how play styles do affect like the amount of injuries you get. So like, just say for example, like you said, Spurs, they've got a lot of injuries. I know Brighton have had a lot of injuries. I know they have a big squad, but they're also an intense play style. They get a lot of injuries. Same with Newcastle as well. Newcastle last season had loads of injuries. I know they played European football as well. And then you look at the converse of that side, Nottingham Forest this season, for example, total opposite. Like they're not an intense team, but they've had barely any injuries this season, really. And you could probably say the same for most David Moyes sides. Like I think, generally speaking, I think his teams were pretty injury-free as well. So I think there's just an interesting debate with that at the moment anyway, to be honest. And actually, one question I've been kind of pondering, because I know there's been a lot of talk as well, like about how about like the gap between the Championship and the Premier League. But I do wonder as well how much of a factor play style is with it. Because I was looking at, say, like the 3 teams last season. So who was it last season? So Luton, Sheffield United were a mess, and Burnley. I thought probably was a case of manager being too rigid with the system, then got relegated. Then you look at this season. Obviously, Russell Martin was like the classic example of someone sticking to his principles a bit too much. Like, is there a question of also maybe like the play style kind of like plays into like into this as well? It was just an interesting debate that I thought about the other day.
Yeah, look, obviously we had no identity down for years, under McCarthy. Well, you knew what you got with McCarthy. It was boring football, 4-4-2.
Yeah.
But then managers after that, we had no identity. So McKenna's come in and he's adapted a playing style. We play 4-2-3-1, and we do probably stick to it most weeks. Look, he has been a bit more adaptable this season. He's gone 3 at the back, wing backs. I just think it is the level. Look, we haven't been here for 22 years. We've been away. One thing I've noticed massively is the physicality of players. You'll probably look tomorrow. We are quite a weak team, I think. As in, we've got a lot of technical players like your Hutchinsons, your Jack Clarks, your Philogines, but they ain't got that physical stature as some of these players are. They're all athletes, aren't they? But they're big, they're strong, they're fast. The pace of the game as well is something else, and we are probably playing catch up with everybody. Even the 2 teams that come up with us, Southampton and Leicester, they're ahead of us in players they've got, transfer winners, because they were in the Premier League. They've been Premier League teams where we haven't, and it is that step up. We've never really over the season been able to put probably Chelsea aside. We can't seem to play for 90 minutes, but it is intense. So look, it's intense in the Championship, but it's a different style of football in there. It's a bit more blood and guts, whereas Premier League, I think it's more technical, and I just think we're just probably falling short on a lot of things, But physicality is one main thing that I would say. We don't dominate teams, but then did I really expect us to anyway? Coming from where we've come from, not really. This is why I haven't really been surprised at where we are as a team. I never thought that we'd be mid-table and be comfortable. I thought we'd always be somewhere around the bottom 3. Look, we probably should have more points because there's games where we were ahead and we've made mistakes. But then I think every team can say that. There'll be games when you think you should have won that one. If you hadn't have made a mistake there. Look, football's a game of mistakes. But the teams probably that are going to go down, they'll end up making more mistakes than anyone else. And you look at the amount of goals. I looked the other day. I think last season, the 3 teams relegated, it was over 250 goals they conceded combined. And I think the teams now, we're at about 180 already. So you're probably on, with 11 games to go, you're probably going to be somewhere there. So it's football, any level. If you can't keep the ball out your net, it don't really matter what you're doing, because we ain't going to be as free scoring as we have been the last 2 seasons. That's just a fact, and that. And Delap's the main man, but you'll see him tomorrow. And you'll see the goals that he scored. Most of them goals he scored, lads, he's had to create himself. He's a one-ball wrecking machine. And sometimes, look, he's still a young player. And that's where you look at our front 4 normally. Delap's like 21. You'll have Hutchinson, Clark, Philogene. They're all young players. And that's a lot of pressure on their shoulders to perform at that level. But I think when people will say to me, yeah, but I think we could have signed some players with Premier League experience, we wouldn't have been able to. A, we can't afford the fees, and B, you can't afford their wages. So where you're shopping at the top of the Championship, I think is sensible. And it's sensible if you go down, you'll have them players, and hopefully we should, look, touch wood, have a really good chance of coming straight back up.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. That's fair. JC, let's go through some comments and then we'll go into the combined 11.
Mm-hmm. Big up Alex, big up the dog, big up Chairman, big up Animal, big up Damo, big up TCD, big up Durfez. Flying through these comments today because there's a lot. So thank you everyone for putting comments in.
I hope he's not messed his hair up there taking his jumper off.
So I was listening.
Well, the comments are covering him, so he's fine. Reading the Fulham website, apparently Palace are getting the whole end at Craven Cottage.
Okay, because we weren't getting the P1 and P2, were we, at one point?
Mm-hmm.
What a weird place that is. I went to Craven Cottage there, guys, just quickly. I think it's just in the new year. It's weird there because we went in the same entrance as the home fans. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. Really bizarre. That's a mix. They have a mix stand there, didn't they? It used to behind the goal.
Yeah. They're still doing
right.
Yeah.
Still doing
What does Ipswich make of Jack Clark, as we were also linked with him?
So, look, he's another one. I think he's very, very talented. He was one of the best players last year for Sunderland, but he struggled to find his feet. He's played a few games the last couple of weeks. It showed the level we're at, guys. We went to Coventry away in the FA Cup. Coventry have been flying under Lampard, and we played our second string. We beat them 4-1, and he was the best player on the pitch that day. So if we go down, for my money, he'll be one of the best players in the Championship again next season. Don't think he's quite ready for the Premier League, like a lot of our players are.
Mm-hmm. Big up Ali. He says, I blame Ed Sheeran. He's a distraction and just an ugly version of Will Hughes. Ali, I know
probably a better singer, isn't he, than Will Hughes? Hopefully.
I don't know, you know. I know that that Jeffrey Schlupp's gone, but you can't pick a good player to root for now, you know. You can't root for Will Hughes. It's got to be like Remy Matthews or something now.
Don't ruin it.
100%. Another question here. With Luton being the biggest comparable team into last year, does their failure this year in the Championship worry you at all?
Not really, because they didn't really spend, did they? They didn't sort of plan for going. Look, they've obviously taken the money. They're going to get a new stadium out of it, but they could be in League One. But look, Luton, I don't think you can compare Luton to us. You know, Luton done really well last year, and they are probably. There is similarities there because I watched a lot of their games, and they were in games and they lose by the odd goal. But in the end, when you keep losing, it does grind you down a little bit. But I don't think we'd struggle if we go down this season. I don't think we'll be in the position that Luton are in now.
Also, as well, like you're comparing a team with just over a 10,000 seater stadium with a 30,000 seater. So I think for me, the only real comparison is in terms of, I guess, the performance of. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, staying in games and, you know, might stay up, but not quite, maybe. I don't know.
Animal says, I want to laugh at Palace. I reckon...
so do I. We can never get him, but so do I.
Yeah, if Mateta goes, you'd want him to be at the top of our list, but he ain't coming to Palace if he does leave Ipswich. He'll go to Chelsea or whoever want to buy him for stupid millions of money.
Is that where you think he'll go, JC? You think he'll go Chelsea?
They try, don't they?
They buy everyone, Chelsea, don't they?
I think if you look at the link there, Maresca was the youth team with the academy at City when he was coming through the academy. So that's why I think he might actually end up there. He just needs, wherever he goes, I hope he picks the right club and he needs to keep playing, you know, to improve like anybody. It's no good he goes to a club and then he plays a few games and sits on the bench. So I just hope he picks the right club. I'd love him to stay at town, but there's no hope.
But if I was going to pick somewhere, he'll probably go. back to City and play second fiddle to Haaland. Oh no, then again though, they just bought Marmoush, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, to be fair, there's a few
Or,
teams who I think
Man
could do with a
United.
centre
Man
forward.
United need a striker badly, don't they?
Well,
Xerxes
see-
rubbish, and so
see-
Hoyland.
See, I know Man United apparently interested in Mateta, so Delap might very well be a decent shout there, to be fair. If,
I mean,
Where are they
if
going to get their money
want-
from? Where are United going to get their money from to sign these players?
well,
They're in a
Well,
right state.
someone has said, well, all the Islamic players are fasting, so it's saving them money.
Well, I mean, they are stingy on the canteen, I heard. So
yeah, and they
saving
make
money like that.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
making off their staff redundant.
Yeah, I'd love to laugh at Palace if Mateta went, but I'd be interested to see what kind of price tag we put on Mateta.
See, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say Palace would be a bad move. I honestly don't. I know a lot of people think that he'd go further up, but I think if Mateta went and you did sign Delap, he'd
What
play
would you
every week.
demand for him though? What kind of price would you demand for him?
This is what we don't know. If have City got a buyback? Look, I think
Because we're not paying more than 40.
yeah, ideally you'd want 2 or 3 clubs in for him, and then you could bump the money up. But look, we signed him for 15. I think rise to 20. I think if you got 40, 45 million for him, I don't think he's really going to go for much more than that. You know, there's people saying 60, 70 million. I don't really think that's realistic.
Mm-hmm.
If we got 45 million, I think I'll be quite happy with that. But if you got 2 or 3 teams in and it does become a bit of a bidding war, you might be able to bump it up a little bit. But
I think
and if he gets picked for England, when Tuchel picks his squad, which I think there's a chance that he might, that might bump it up a little bit more as well.
Yeah. I reckon if also he's done it in the Premier League for a few years, then he probably could be looking 50 plus. But because of that, I don't think Pabs are playing any more than 35, and even then we're breaking our transfer record, aren't we? A few more comments. Big up Pat says, big up Mr. Muscles, homeless JD Vance, Bigo and Vanilla Rich.
So silly.
Luke Plangedini, he's awful. And finally,
We just got rid of him.
big up Mitch. All right, time for a combined 11. So, Rich, what we do is we make a combined 11. So you pick the team, injuries out the window. So that probably makes life a lot easier for you. But what you have to do is you have to get at least 3 Palace players or 3 Ipswich players in this team. So it can't be a full Ipswich team. You need to get 3 Palace players in there.
I see one today online, and it had 1 Ipswich player in.
No, but you have to make it free because then it won't be fair. Because we did it with Man City, and we didn't even have a single player in there. So, this is the way to make it fair for everyone. So, first of all, what formation would you like?
We go. What should we do? 4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1. All right. Who do you want in goal?
Can I make a suggestion, JC, if you don't mind?
What's that?
Rich, could you put your Ipswich players in first?
Oh.
That might make it a bit easier for you.
Well, I'll tell you one person I wouldn't have in goal is R.O. Murich, because if you've watched any of our games this season, he's been a disaster. Look, he's been replaced now, so he's no, we don't put him in. Delap's going in. Yeah, Delap. Delap's definitely.
The lap over Mateta.
Yeah, well, I think. Look, if I'm picking 3 Ipswich players,
Sorry. Here's your team. Sorry, I'm going to mute. Sorry, it's your team.
he's going to be top of my list. Now we're struggling, aren't we? So I'll have in Adam Wharton will be in my team, guys. If he's
not an Ipswich player.
no, I'm saying he'd be in nailed in. So he's one of the midfielders gone. Our midfield's probably one of our weakest areas. So there's no one would be getting in from there. I'll play Julio and Ciso in the 10. I know he's only played a couple of games, but he is a different level. Hopefully he'll be fit tomorrow.
Ooh,
we can't. I don't know if we can do that.
Come on.
Brighton player.
Just because he's from Brighton on loan. We'll put him in. I'm struggling for another player in there. I am struggling. You know, if I'm.
It's with a C.
ENTIS. He's not there. Oh, there he is.
Is that what is that?
Who's that?
he came up underneath that player. He's not going in here, but it's the thought that counts.
Right, I'll have Leif Davis in the left back. We'll play him there. He's better going forward than he is. Yeah, that's it. There's no one else to go in there. There he is. That'll be my 3. Can't get no one else in, I'm afraid.
Who would play in that right-sided attacking role?
That'll be Hutchinson, wouldn't it?
Well, it could be Amari. It could be Jaden Philogene. Amari's played in the 10. Amari's either the 10 or the right of the 3. You could get Amari in there possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys here know I'm a very big fan of Philogene.
He's a good player.
Very big fan of Philogene.
He's only just come in, so he's still. Oh look, I might put Hutchinson in there. Mike D in the chat. He's a Town fan. He said Amari's getting your side.
Hutchinson's quality. He's a very good player.
Well, I remember when
he's a player. I think if we go down, I think we lose him. I honestly think he was one of our best players last season, and he's struggled. But he's got 3 goals. I think he got 4 assists this season. I think he's a good player.
Okay. Do you want to? So we've got 4 Ipswich players in here now, so I can get rid of this fraud, which makes me feel much better. Okay. Do we fill out the rest with Palace players and then we can talk?
I think you.
All right. So then again, though, who would be your left winger? Would it be Clark?
Yeah, Jack Clark.
Because we don't really play with wingers anymore.
Yeah, we don't play wingers.
No, you can put him in there if you want. Boost the numbers.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah, so we put Clark there, and then we can whack. Who we want, Chilwell or Mitchell down here? As a 4, be
I
Mitchell.
think Chilwell will be. Oh, it's a 4 in it. Yeah, that's a good point.
As a 4,
Mitchell's-
be
Mitchell.
I'd
Mitchell.
probably put Ty there, yeah, if it's a 4. Because then I imagine if this was a real team, I would imagine Hutchinson would move inside. Munoz would go forwards.
How's Twanzebe at right back? We also said that Munoz is better as a wing back than a fullback. So how's Twanzebe at fullback, Rich? Break out.
Obviously, this is the 11 for the 3 players for each. But I mean, there is a serious conversation here for if you take out the fact of you have to get 3 Ipswich players in there. Is it Delap or is it Mateta?
It's a great conversation.
And I think it has to be Mateta right now. I feel like he offers a little bit more than Delap does.
I don't disagree with that, if I'm being honest.
But Delap is quality. I genuinely feel for Delap a lot. Like you said, he has to make his own chances, and he's such a workhorse as well. You know, that actually worries me tomorrow. Granted, I know our back 3 has been really good, but my goodness me, he doesn't stop running. And in the game against Portman Road, he should have scored. He should have scored. So
I fixed it.
Hey. Oh, that's a good side.
Eze on the left though.
Okay, that's a bit woke. Yeah, Eze on the left is dead.
You wouldn't want to be a centre half playing against them 2 strikers, would you?
No.
Oh, you know what we can do? You can do the 4-2-2-2-2-2. That one. You know, where you got 2 10s and 2 6s.
Now that is woke.
Yeah. Sean Dyche would not be happy with me.
We would not. You know what? We can talk Palace in a minute. So let's just. How do you see the game going, Rich? Tomorrow, how do you see it going?
Well, I think it's going to be very tough. Obviously, Mateta not playing is obviously good for us. But then Eddie Nketiah's come in and he's got a couple of goals in his last 2 games. Look, I suppose that probably changes how you play a little bit with like the physicality up there. But Nketiah's probably a bit more technical. Is Hughes out suspended tomorrow? He's not playing?
Yeah, he's suspended.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Who are you playing with Wharton in the centre?
Lerma.
Yeah, probably be Lerma. Could be an argument for Kamada, but it'll probably be Lerma.
But then I look at your home form and I think you've only got 14 points, haven't you, from at home. So you're obviously you've struggled a little bit. I think tomorrow, I think as in any game, if we could get in the lead, I think that's right. If you score first, we are not very good chasing games, and I think then it becomes more difficult. And you look at the game at Portman Road, that was sort of when you were struggling then. And I think if you look at the game that night and it was only a 1-0 win, I thought you were pretty comfortable in the game. I thought you showed that you're experienced, you got a bit of know-how, whereas that's where we were a little bit naive in certain aspects. But if we could get in front, I think we've got a chance. But yeah, I'd go for, if I've got to be a little bit positive, I'd go for a 1-1 draw tomorrow. I don't think that does a lot of good for us, to be honest, in the position we're in now, because you're 5 behind Wolves and you're hoping that they don't win tomorrow. But we're probably better away, if I'm being honest, than we are at home. Look, we've only won 3 games, but we've won 2 away. We're wearing pink tomorrow. That's another good thing because we are pretty good in that kit. And I don't think we've lost when we've worn that kit. So I'm looking at, clutching at straws a little bit, aren't I, really, when I'm on about what kit we're going to wear. But I'll go, I'll go 1-0. I'll go 1-0, but all depends for me on the first goal. If you get ahead, I don't think we'll come back. If we get ahead, we've got half a chance of grabbing something.
If we talk about kits, I hope we play the black kit at home because we ain't lost in that kit either.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, Rich. You've not won yet this year.
No, because Chelsea was the last win, and that was on the 30th of December. So
we are terrible against omens. Like Everton,
Don't worry, we're a charity professional football club. If you're gonna get points, it will be against us.
Don't you think that's your typical football fan? Because you always look on the negative, don't you? When you see these little things and you think, oh, look, they haven't won. Look, the last 8 games we've taken 2 points.
Well, I think a good stat for you. I'm not 100% sure on the stat. I think something like Shane Long scored I think it was 3 goals in 2 years or something like that, and 2 of them were against us. So. Yeah,
we're very charitable as a club. Just throwing that.
Well, I think Dan, I'll do you one better.
Go on, then.
I'm sure that we are the team that have conceded the most first goals for players in the Premier League. So when a player scores their first goal in the Prem, I think that we're the top for that happening against us.
Typical.
No,
there you go. Absolutely typical.
Has anyone not scored for you yet, Rich?
I'm trying.
Goalkeeper.
In Ciso's not scored.
Oh no! No.
Obviously, with his Brighton links, that go down a storm, wouldn't it? Tomorrow, if he's, I think he'd probably be on the bench. If I'm honest, he'd probably come on second half. Jens Kajust in midfield, he's not scored. Dar O'Shea, he'll probably play right back tomorrow. He's not scored. Luke Wolford's not scored in the Prem. So we've got a few.
Was it 5 now?
We've got a few.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, on a Palace viewpoint, obviously Eddie Nketiah will start tomorrow. Glasner's confirmed that he's aiming for Mateta to return against Fulham.
Jack Clark, there you go. Jack Clark as well. Rich, not scored.
You're joking.
Not in the league. Not in the league.
And also, he's someone that we wanted to buy as well. That makes it even.
There you go. There you go. Have a bet. First goal scorer, Jack Clark.
Written in the stars.
1-0 Clark.
like printing
I'm
money.
gonna have to write these. I'm gonna have to write these names down just on my phone. Just have a look, and when it happens, there's one tick. But I think we've got pretty much a fully fit squad outside of Mateta. Like Riyad, Doucouré, Ward. We've known about all of them.
Even France is back.
Yeah, even Francis back. He got an assist for the 21s on Monday night. Obviously, for tactical, you've seen how explained how the game's going to go. For me, I'm hoping. I don't think it will happen though, but I'm hoping Glasgow decides to just sit back because Ipswich are pretty decent on the ball, and I'm hoping he just thinks, let them play. Let's see if we can just play them on the break because we are very good on the break. That's one of our traits. And we're not really good against a low block. Like even against Mill when they had 10 men, we took our sweet time trying to like find any sort of space. I think the key to that is obviously Daniel Munoz and Chilwell gave us excellent width. You know, the question is, does Chilwell start again in this game? You know, and I think he should because I think, like I said, if Ipswich are going to sit back, Mitchell isn't the best going forward and keeping width in that aspect. You know, so yeah, we have to wait and see. I think if we do score first, I think we end up getting that 3 in this game.
I would say go the other way, personally. Be more intense. Keep the tempo high and make the game physical. Well, Rich said to us earlier, they're not a very physical team. If we can dominate them physically, there's not really much they can do about it. So why not try?
We've lost 2 of them, Mateta and Hughes.
You know, Wharton's still decently strong in the tackle as well, right? And if anything,
we prefer him to be.
And if anything, Lerma's a bit more of a madman than Hughes when it comes to tackling and strength. So, to be fair, Eddie Nketiah he's not weak. He's I think Dan said it. He's a £30 million IU. So, like, he'll win fouls. He'll make a nuisance of himself. Like, he got clear of a Millwall centre half who was 6'4", and he still won a header against him. So I wouldn't say that he's a slouch at all. Sarr's pretty physical. Eze gets physical when he wants to. So I wouldn't say that.
It's to move the ball a lot quicker tomorrow, by the way.
But I wouldn't say it's like by missing Mateta and Hughes you get rid of all of our physicality. You don't. The only way we do that is if we put Kamada in the team, which I don't think Kamada will play very much until the end of the season from now because of like France are coming back, Romain Esse coming into the team. We've got options off the bench now as well. So, you know, with our high intensity, when people get tired, you've still got young players who are still very high quality to bring on off the bench. So you are able to keep that tempo high throughout the whole 90. So that's how I would play it. And I think Ipswich, they do like to concede a few late goals. So why not try and go for something
And
like
a few from set pieces.
And set pieces are our bread and butter this season. We've scored the second most of all teams in the whole Premier League. So why not try and, you know, exploit that a little bit more?
Yeah. Let's look to wrap things up. JC, Dan, what are your score predictions?
What did I say on tactical now?
I said 2-0 to Palace on tactical.
I said 3-1 then, didn't I? I said 3-1.
Yeah, I was thinking 3-1. I think I put 3-1 in my predictions anyway. I'll double check that. Yeah, and obviously Rich, you're saying 1-1. So
we've got one of your old players who's our set piece coach, Mark Hudson. He used to play for you, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
he did.
But we weren't that bad defending set pieces. I think we'd only conceded 3 all season, and then we conceded 3 in one game at Man United. So, but we don't.
What against Forest? A set piece as well in the FA
Cup? No, it was a second. It was a second phase. Obviously, they had a free kick and then it came in. But we don't score a lot of goals from set pieces. We scored the other night. George Hurst scored at Forest, but we don't win the first contacts in the opposition box from corners. So. Yeah, I'll go 1-0. I'm not that confident, but I can't come on and say we're going to lose, so we'll go for a 1-0 draw.
All right, let's end with some comments, guys. Yeah, what's my fine?
I don't even know because your performance was shocking. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it because Rich fumbled the bag how many times in one video?
You were just annoyed at like how my substitutions were. Like I did it in the wrong order.
It's wrong. it's
It was-
wrong. Nketiah and Greaves' own goal. The way Mateta bought Greaves at their place was mad. Now just late goals. 3-1. That would get a cheeky goal, but Nketiah saw the qual bag. Kamada be used as a centre mid option. And Jack Clark double. All seriousness 2-1 to Palace.
Guys, look, tomorrow's game is massive. You know, it's almost like when we had the game at Portman Road. It was a massive turning point in our season. If we can get 3 points tomorrow, and hope other results of the teams above us results go in our favour. Have the FA Cup game, then we've got Southampton away. If we get 6 points, we're on 42 points. There's a anyway. Let me not get too excited because that running afterwards is a bit mad. The running is crazy. Like we got like Arsenal, City, Liverpool, all of them.
Liverpool.
You know, it is crazy. But if we could just get ourselves in touch and distance, you just never know. I think there's 4 points between like 4th and like 9th. You know, so if we could somehow just close the gap a bit, and this is why I think tomorrow's game is massive. It's a massive, massive game. But Rich, thank you so much for obviously joining us. Let us know where everyone can find you. We have put your channel in the title as well and in the description.
Yeah, we've got the Suffolk Crunch on X, YouTube, and TikTok. I'm looking forward to coming down. I like Selhurst, proper ground, proper atmosphere. And hopefully we might be back next season, but I'm not too hopeful.
I hope so, and I hope when we play you, it's not in the middle of winter on a Tuesday night because I was really gutted that we didn't get to enjoy that away pub in the sun.
Oh yeah,
by the river.
If we could do that in the summer.
Station Hotel, is that the one? Station Hotel, just at the railway station.
Yeah.
You don't get many pubs when you come straight out your railway station. You're literally over the road, and then you're in the boozer, do you?
No, exactly.
Mate,
exactly.
in the summer, 3 p.m. kickoff, that would be amazing. So
Tuesday night, not great in winter.
-1, yeah.
Yeah. How to smash a Mackies on the way home is not the worst.
Absolutely. Guys, smash the like button. Please subscribe to the Suffolk Crunch as well. Please support him. He's doing great things. I think he said you were 20 away from
8,300. 8,300.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know what? Let's get him to 8,300 here, guys. You know, because if he's doing a match day vlog, you're probably going to want to watch that anyway. And stuff. If you happen to not have to rush off, Rich, I'll drop you a message. We do fan cams, and if you have got the time, which I doubt you will, because I know away fans they go off straight away. Yeah, it'd be great to speak to you after the game. If not, no worries.
Yeah, might do. If we win.
Guys, smash the like button. Big up to everyone in the chat. Subscribe if you're new. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. And as always, up to Palace.
Eagle.